Before we begin, I have to tell you this amazing story. There was once this couple that was in the hospital. The husband was sitting in the hospital. He was about to die. His wife comes in, his wife of 40 years. And he turns to the wife and says, "My dear, I finally figured it out." So she says, "What? What did he figure out?" He says, "You've always been there by my side. I remember when I lost my first job, you were right there by my side. I remember when I invested in the stock market and I lost all the money. You, my dear, you were always by my side. When I was sick, you were by my side. Everything that happened bad in my life, you never left me. You were always by my side. And I finally realized something today as you're by my side once again in the hospital." And she turns to her husband and she says, What? What, my dear? What did you realize?" He turns to her and says, "I figured it out. I think you're bad luck." What's funny is that, or not so funny, is there's so many jokes in life when it comes to marriage. And there's so many jokes in life when it comes to dating. But these jokes are always like, "Ha ha ha, I'm living in prison," or "Ha ha ha, I dated so many people." Like, why is it so relatable when we talk about dating and marriage when things are so difficult? And sadly, there's a reason for it. And tonight we're going to address them. But I want to begin by saying something that I told some people here. Tonight we're here because of a conversation that I had with Jacob, and it went like this. If we went into Compton, you guys know where Compton is? I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn. Compton is like you guys know Compton, right? So if you lived in Compton and you had people want to invest a lot of money so that others would set up retirement plans, Roth IRAs, 401ks, right? How many subscriptions do you think you would get if you would just stand on the street and even make signs and get everyone door to door? Do you think you would get a lot of people to sign up? No, right? I don't know. Why not? Why is it that no matter how much money you pour into retirement plans for Compton, you're not going to get a large return? Anyone want to try to answer that? Very good. Because the people in Compton don't even know what you're talking about. They don't even relate to this concept at all. Today in Los Angeles and in the whole Jewish world, I have a big problem. When it comes to dating and marriage, it's very much the same. We could have these huge social single events. We could have all the J-Swipes and Tinders in the whole world. We could have the bagels, all these different things. Everyone's coming together. But it's like you could pour as much money into these events as you want. But if I don't know, if I'm not educated in how to get married, then it'll never happen. It'll never happen. Just this week, there was someone in my office who he told me, he says, "Rabbi, I have a trip with my girlfriend of 2 years. We're going to Italy." And she told me that if I don't propose on this trip, it's over. Right? So I said, "So what are you going to do?" He says, "I don't even know what it means to get married. I don't want to get married. I don't even know what that even means. I'm happy where things are now." So there's something going on in the consciousness of our generation where people that want to get married may not even know how to get married. But once we learn a little bit and take away the veil of how, the process of how, all of a sudden you're like the Jew in Compton. This whole place has so much financial opportunity. Are you kidding me? No one's selling life insurance policies. No one's signing. This is like uncharted territory. So tonight, I think there's going to be less inspiration about, Rabbi, inspire me about the soul and marriage. Tonight is going to be much more. We're going to discuss the how. Tonight we're going to discuss the how. By the way, pardon me from holding my notes. There's no better way of doing this. The chair's awkward. This chair's awkward. We're going to do it like this. So let's start with the state of dating today. And before we continue, by the way, at any time, if you feel passionate about something I said, or if you have a question about something that I'm sharing, it's just us tonight, right? There's not the whole world here. So by all means, raise your hand, and we'll talk about it, whatever it is. This is something I'm passionate about, and if there's something you want to touch on more, or if you don't understand something, don't be shy. What's it to be shy, right? We're just a couple Jews sitting around a table. So the state of dating and marriage today. You know, when I was a kid in school, I grew up in like an Orthodox Chabad school. I remember they would tell us, they would say, hey kids, it looks so nice out there, but the only life is the Torah life. This is what they would tell us. Oh, you think they're happy in their Lamborghinis? They're not happy, really deep down. And I'd be like, I don't know, maybe yeah, maybe no. They look pretty happy, right? I was like, I don't know. Today it's like a whole new world where I look at the secular world and they're literally telling us, screaming on top of the rooftops, we've lost our minds. It's a whole new world where, as a religious kid, it was like everyone was nuclear family, white picket fences, but I was like the Jew, and I was trying to like decide between the two. It was so hard to decide what's the difference. But now we're living in a world where the world is saying, we don't know how to get married, we don't know how to have a family, we don't know anything anymore. And they're literally saying that we've lost our minds, we've gone crazy, don't take our advice. This is the state of the world today, which is a whole new world we're living in. But when it comes to the state of dating, it's a complete disaster. I want to share with you guys interesting statistics. I searched online, what was the percentage of expectancy of people to get married per generation? Starting from the baby boomers, right? Not like post-World War II to 1964. The percentages was that 77% to 96% of that generation got married. 77 to 96. I mean, if anyone knows anything about polling, when you're at 96, basically if someone didn't get married, it was like, maybe, I don't know, it couldn't happen. Then you have the next generation, the Gen X, 1965 to 1980, 62% to 82%. Now we just dropped 20% of expectancy that they will ever get married, or that they did get married. They're still alive today. They could still get married. Millennials.
What was the percentage again? I'm sorry.
The Generation X, which is 1965 to 1980, the low end expectancy is at 62%. Best case scenario, 82. So we went from 96% best case scenario to 82% best case scenario. Best case scenario, millennials, means if you're born between 1981 and 1996, best case scenario of people that will be married in the United States is 67%. Low case, 56. Gen Z, best case, 58. Low case, 56. You know what that means in real numbers? That means, let's say for Gen Z, best case scenario Gen Z, okay? If you have 100 people in your grade, 42 of them will never get married. Best case scenario. If 100 people at the graduation, hey, life's great, selfies. They're telling us that 42 out of 100 in that room will statistically, best case scenario, never get married. So something's changing, but then I decided to look for something else. And this is where it gets interesting. How many people did it take for people back in the day to date until they found their soulmate? Because now it's like, let's get into the nitty-gritties over here. In the 1970s and 1980s, the average person dated, like went on a date with 3 to 5 people until they married someone. Could you imagine? 1970s, 1980s, 3 to 5 people, between 3 to 5, most people were married. 1990s, 5 to 10. 1990s, they had to date 5 to 10 people in order to find their soulmate. The 2000s until 2010, it became 10 to 20. Could you imagine? Someone from, I guess someone here could imagine. From 1970s to 1980s, it's like, oh, their parents are saying I dated 3 people. The kids in 2010, like, I've dated 20 people and I'm still looking. And then today, till the present, says that the average person today, between 2010 and 2025, is estimated to date minimum 20 to 50 people before they get married. If they ever get married. 42 statistically will never get married. So now you're probably wondering, Rabbi, I don't even know what you're considering a date. I don't even know if I ever dated someone properly. I don't know what these things mean. Like, I wish I dated 50 people. Come on, bring it on. Let's go. I'm still trying to figure out one normal date. You know what? It seems like there's something in the data, which is maybe the way we approach dating changed. Because some people here feel that they've never went on one real date, but the statistics are saying that they dated 10 people already. So it's not that people are not meeting each other, because now people are meeting more people than ever before. 50 people on average before someone ties the knot. Something is changing. By the raise of hands, anyone here want to bring up, what do you think is happening in the world that's causing people are dating a lot of people, but very few are ever getting married? Yes. Loud so we could all hear.
I think it's a point that a few people appreciate it. I think there's a lack of authenticity sometimes. I think that there's a lot of fear of being perceived differently than a certain way, and being genuine and authentic to yourself doesn't come as naturally to some people. So it creates this barrier of actually getting to be your authentic self and attract an authentic match.
Could you bring an example? What would be something where someone doesn't want to show their full authentic self at a date? And let's discuss that. What would be an example of today where people don't bring themselves fully to the table?
Let me think about it for a second. I've heard of people borrowing a friend's car to take someone on a date, because they don't want to be perceived a certain way, right? That could be one way. Or even when you're having a specific conversation about something, not responding in a way, let's say something makes you uncomfortable, some people won't actually share that it makes them uncomfortable, they'll just go along with it because they're afraid to have conflict. So those would be two different ways that someone's not authentic.
Those are great examples, yeah.
And to this point, I think a lot of people are nervous to be vulnerable with appropriate timing, obviously. And I think subconsciously, when people aren't vulnerable and they're putting on a different face, when someone starts to like this persona that they put on, they start thinking to themselves, how does this person even like me? They don't even know me. When in reality, you're not giving that person a real chance to actually get to know you and like you. And it all kind of stems from being comfortable in your own skin and being insecure that someone's not going to accept you in your truth. So a lack of confidence in who you are, I would say.
Beautiful. And by the way, maybe the fact that everyone's dating so many people, it's like a feedback loop, because what are the chances that, why should I share anything with you? The chances are that I'm probably not going to know you in 3 months from now. So why would I ever show you my true authentic self? Because then you just go to the locker room and you start telling everyone, oh, this person, this is their problem. They don't talk to their mother. They don't talk to their father. So now we're driving with someone else's car, talking about a personality that doesn't live in my house. And it's like it's a loop that doesn't end. Yeah.
I think also not knowing what to look for might be an issue. Jacob mentioned this earlier, but everyone wants a nice person, a kind person, a good person, but beyond that, what is a good match for you? Having that clarity, I think, is not something that we're necessarily taught how to find, look for, reflect on.
100%.
So that piece seems like an issue.
100%. Yeah.
Challenging dating landscape, I think, number one. I think men and women inherently don't meet each other as much as we used to. I think that women didn't have the education and careers that we do now, and women used to be much less independent. So it made sense just for the sake of making your lives easier when there were more traditional
So Hannah, you actually brought some very important stuff up, which is like women, like the careers have flipped. Today there's a lot of men that stay at home. There's a lot of women that have career. What do I do with the fact that I have so much trauma and scars with what these guys did to me in college, what these girls did to me in college, all these different things. These are real things, and we're actually going to discuss all of this tonight. So this is amazing. Baruch Hashem.
I can pay you as like my therapist.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I do agree that, women that need men and month, like, on a financial aspect or relationship aspect, what, I'm not relationship, but financial. But what I was gonna say is like, yeah, right, women go and get careers, right? So then suddenly you're going out with a guy that you don't need him for security or safety or anything like that. So then don't you hone in on more of just the compatibility? So you hone in on more of like what your compatibility is, what your relationship is, whatever. So now suddenly you don't have to compromise on someone who you don't like just because he makes money, right? So it's not always a bad thing. And as far as like, we call it baggage, right? But what it really is just experience. And experience, again, helps you hone in on what you actually want. And like, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I'm just saying like, a lot of things that we turn as like negative or whatever, it actually can be a positive. I'm not trying to say that anyone is wrong here, but this is just my own.
Okay. Yeah.
I would just add that I think it's separately from it, like kind of piggybacking, but also separate. I think it's the perception of options. I don't think it's anybody that has like super real options, but if anybody opens their dating apps, they have X amount of likes, they have this, they have that, and you get this dopamine hit every single time. And it's really easy to not get rejected if you never actually let yourself feel something or be in something or actually see them, but you get to your point, the feedback loop of, well, I got the good part already. And so, then you have this many options. How do you decide who you actually want to go out with? Who do you want to spend time with? All of these things. And then everybody's like, well, I have these things. And then as soon as the one thing that when you meet them, that one thing that you don't like, it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to go on to the next rather than figuring out if there's actually compatibility in there, if it's like actually a big thing. Like, I think that perception of options is, to me, the biggest problem.
Which is a real thing. People back it's the same thing with like shopping for a house, Zillow. You go on Zillow, it's like, whoa. Back in the day, I only knew the 3 square blocks that there was.
I say this all the time. My grandparents only knew their neighbors and the people around them, and then your parents could know like who they went to high school with, and then then it's college, then it's you go out and you just see more and more, and now we have it all at our fingertips, and none of it's real.
So tonight, we're not just going to be talking problems. You got to start here. But we're also going to discuss solutions to this. But this is a great place to start. So what's clear is that it seems that today, number one, nobody wants, at least in the general social world, people don't want to get married. If you open up any TV show today, you're not going to find television that's about someone's journey to get married. Usually, it's either a single mom, a single dad, 2 moms, 2 dads, kids left the home, everyone's in problems. But it's not like society today is, when was the last time you drove down the street and saw an ad for a wedding ring? It just doesn't exist, right? Like, by the way, great idea. If you're in the Diamond District, be the first one because it doesn't exist anymore. So number one, it seems like nobody wants to, at least as a society, to get married. Number 2, it appears that nobody knows today, and here's the kicker, how to get married. We have all these problems, all these obstacles. So if I have all these obstacles, you know what that means? That I no longer know how to navigate these legitimate issues to get married. And what ends up happening is I'm frozen in time, running around trying to figure something out. So this is what we're going to discuss. Tonight we're going to discuss, number 1, why should a person get married? But that's not going to be the majority of the conversation, because if you're here tonight, you probably want to. Number 2, how, the main thing, how can I date in a way that gets me married faster? Straight up. How can I date in a way that gets me married faster? So, we're all, like I said before, we're also not going to be discussing a lot about general, the joy of marriage. That we could make another class, we could make another dinner for everyone that's engaged one day. We could talk about all the beauty of marriage, but today we got to talk, like we say in Hebrew, tachlis, practical. How do I get as fast as I can? to the ring, the finger, and the ring, and the canopy. So here we go. Why should I get married? It's a big thing today. This kid in my office didn't want to get married. He's like, I don't want to get married to her. Why should I get married? To think about all the reasons that a person would want to get married. Does anyone want to think of a reason to get married? Anyone have a reason? By the raise of hand. Who has a reason? What do you think is a good reason to get married? What?
To build a family.
To build a family. What else? Yeah. Make your parents happy. Worst reason to get married. If I could say so myself. But yes, it will make your parents happy. Next. Companionship. Fulfilling potential. Anyone else? To give to each other. To be bold. Whole. Okay. A lot of the things, if not all the things, tonight, you could actually get out of marriage. If you haven't checked, most families today in America are not married. A lot of kids today are born out of wedlock. The marriage rate is very low. You want companionship? There's companionship out of marriage. Just ask all the people that go to Las Vegas and all these women that follow them. They're not married and they have all the companionship that they need. Right? Today, everyone's, how often is it that we hear that, I've been dating someone for 4 years. Wow. You've had companionship for 4 years. And guess what? Companionship even without marriage. What about having sex? What about fun? What about having someone to go with life with? All these things you could have out of marriage. None of these things do I need to get married with. So if that's the case, why should I get married? This kid in my office, he said to me straight up with full sincerity, Rabbi, I'm dating this girl for 2 years. She said if I don't propose to her on the Italy trip, she's done. But he says to me, Rabbi, I literally have nothing to gain from getting married. And you know what? He told me something else. He says, I was in Equinox. And all the men there, it's the biggest running joke. Hey, kid, you're still thinking about getting married? Let me tell you, we've all been there. Don't waste your time. You get all the benefits without all the disaster. So today we're living in a real world where men with sincerity, and some, even women, they're being very honest and they're saying, I'm good without marriage. And you know what? We can't judge them because this is the world they grew up in. And it's totally normal in the world we live in to live in a world without needing to get married. So if I could get all these things out of marriage, and by the way, if you look at the animal kingdom, animals don't need to get married. They don't do a ceremony. They're with one person today. Maybe some animals are not, it's not a thing. Why do we need to get married? So from the world, there's no push. So why should we get married? As a Jew, it comes down to basically 3 points, the one being the most important. You know why a Jew should get married? Because number one, God wants us to get married. It's a mitzvah. End of story. You know why he made it a mitzvah, a commandment to get married? Because he knew if I didn't make it a commandment, you would never get married. Because you don't need to get married to have all the benefits of marriage. It's like you wasted one of the 613 on marriage. That's an easy one. Come on. Think about back in the days. This is easy. Remember the baby boomers, 96% of them got married at the high end. So why does he do it? Because he knows the day's going to come when people are going to be able to have all the benefits of marriage without marriage. So number one, why do we want to get married? Because this is what Hashem wants from me. This is what God wants from me. Number two, this is so interesting. I want you to think about this. The Talmud writes that when someone is single, they could be surrounded by 1,000 people and still feel alone. I don't know if you resonate with this, but if someone's married, like proper marriage, commitment marriage, they could be alone wandering in the desert, and in their heart they know they're not alone because they're connected to their spouse. This is something, you could be laughing at Shabbat dinner, you could be out at the clubs with friends, but there's something, if I'm not married, I don't care who's around me, there's like a pit in my chest, which is I'm not truly connecting. I'm not truly, fully happy in this moment. Why? Because there's a lingering voice that I'm not married. And by the way, even if you're in a relationship, if you find out the relationship will end with no commitment, you feel this. That kid his girlfriend still thought she was dating, she's excited. But once she hears the news that he's never going to marry her, the whole internal situation changes. Number 3. This is so fascinating. Marriage does not add anything to our life. From the Jewish perspective, or some would say the Kabbalistic perspective. Marriage does not add to our life. Marriage is actually putting us back where we naturally belong. So naturally, we're two souls. We're one soul that became two souls. So you know why I should get married from a Jewish Kabbalistic perspective? Because naturally I belong married. It's an unnatural thing to be running around our whole life being like, hey, I'm so successful, I'm so this. What do you mean? Where's your spouse? Where's your spouse? Imagine if someone was married and you never saw them with their spouse. You'd be like, hey, something's off. His life or her life is so important, but to never see the person's spouse? So to live a whole life never considering getting married is living a whole life, not naturally whole. So like I said, we're not going to dwell so much on why we should get married, but those are 3 interesting points because everyone around this table wants to get married. So now we're going to get into the meat of potatoes. Now that I want to get married, how do I date to get married fast? Guys, let me tell you something. What I'm going to share tonight, you're going to have a lot of questions on, and I'm here all night to answer. Some of it you'll agree with, some of it you'll love, and hopefully, if you're really paying attention, some of it will make you a little uncomfortable. But this is what it is. This is the truth. At least the way that I understand it when it comes to getting married fast. So here we go. Step number 1 to date for marriage fast. You know what the first step is for getting to date properly? You guys ready for this? To fall in love with, not yourself. Well, okay, actually, good point. But I'm not going to talk about it today. Preface. Everything we're going to talk about today is after dealing with legitimate issues in your life. If someone's broken, if someone has trauma, if someone needs to work on things, they've had things happen to them, which, by the way, newsflash, most of us have had something happen to us in our life. That is something prerequisite to work on. And it's good to just put it out there. And to also recognize time does not heal. Time does not heal. I don't care how many fortune cookies we're going to open and say time heals. The only thing that heals is work. Okay? Maybe time can give us more perspective to actually begin the work, but don't think that a year will pass and another year will pass and then I'll deal with the demons of my youth and the fact that I have no relationship with my parents and that this boyfriend or girlfriend did this to me in the bad. All this is a prerequisite that we must attack that head on. So if we want to get married fast, tomorrow morning, if today you woke up thinking that, okay, in a year from now I'll be over, whatever that thing is, tomorrow morning, step 1 is reach out to a mentor, reach out to your rabbi, reach out to a therapist and say, hey, I want to begin the journey of working on this. Because I don't think time is going to make a difference. And if you look at the world, like we said in the beginning, they're screaming on top of the rooftops that we need to figure this out. Okay, so thank you for bringing up a prerequisite. Step 1. We must fall in love with the institution of marriage. What, Rabbi? Fall in love with the institution of marriage? I've never heard this before. What are you talking about? What's the institution? I'm supposed to marry some building on Pico Robertson? What's the institution of marriage? The first thing a person should fall in love with is not the person, is not their characteristics, is the institution. When I start dating, it's important that Mendy loves being a husband, loves being a father, loves being a spouse. That's step 1. I have to love what I'm about to get myself into. So what does that mean? Is, you ever heard this? Oh, are you looking to, yeah, I'm looking, I'll maybe meet someone, maybe, I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. I want to be a caregiver. I love the institution. And step 1, when I love the institution, now I'm ready to put anyone with me in the box. So guess what? You're not going to see this on Netflix series Love Island and all these different things, right? We're trying to fall in love. Step 1 of falling in love is I got to love what it means for me to be a husband, to be a wife. Are women today being told to love being a wife, to love being a mother? Are men today being told, love being a husband, fall in love with that? It's interesting, right? But if you fall in love with the institution, now you're ready to roll. And your mindset, your headspace is on a whole different planet from everyone dancing at Coachella. Because everyone dancing at Coachella is looking for love. But you already have your number 1 love. which is I'm ready to be that person in this relationship. Does that make sense? Step one, we fall in love with the institution. So if you're sitting on this table, you're like, Rabbi, I don't know if I'm ready to be a husband. I don't know if I'm ready to be a father. I don't know if I'm ready to be a wife, a mother. I'm looking for companionship. So number one is recognize, don't bother other people that are looking for those things. Take yourself out of the dating pool and go straight into Tinder. Because you're wasting a lot of people's time. People are looking for people that have fell in love with the institution. Okay. Step two. You got to begin with building the A-team. Today we live in a world where everyone likes to do everything themselves. Everyone when you ask these kids in like high school, how you doing? Like, great, I'm applying to UCLA and I have a 4.0 GPA and then I'm going to intern in Jerusalem and then my grandfather. Everyone's like Mr. Super Strong and Mrs. Wonder Woman from day one. Step one in life is realizing that I can't do great things alone. I can't. We need the A-team if we're going to do the most difficult thing in the world, which is to get married. Imagine this. Imagine, some of you may be in business. Imagine you were in charge of making a deal between Microsoft and Apple. You go into the boardroom, and you're sitting at the boardroom. You're about to sell something you're Apple selling to Bill Gates, right, Microsoft. And Bill Gates sits down, and he's surrounded by his lawyers and all his people, and you represent your company, Apple. And he says, okay, nice, where's your people? And he said, oh, my people, don't worry, I got this. Do you know what Bill Gates will tell you in that moment? You're not ready for the big leagues. You think you got this? Anyone that's done anything great in their life knows that they can't do it alone. So if you walk into the board meeting with no lawyers, with no advisors, with no accountants, without your board next to you, then Bill Gates in the billion-dollar businesses, he knows that this guy is not ready for prime time. So when it comes to dating, some of us, we don't talk to people. Oh, hey, are you dating? I don't know, maybe, I don't know. You go on a date, we come home, we don't tell our parents, we don't tell our siblings, we don't tell nobody. Maybe we go to ChatGPT and talk to ourselves on AI. Step one is recognizing the foundation is the A-team. So for the A-team, for everyone is different. One person, if you're lucky to have such a relation with your parents, have your parents open up to them and say, hey, parents, mom, dad, I'm officially letting you know that I'm starting to date for marriage. Whoa, I can't talk this with my parents, so vulnerable. Yeah, this is life. This is step one. If it's not your parents, it could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach. There's coaches out there, people that will be your person. Have you ever heard matchmakers in the Orthodox community? Matchmakers are just hired A-teams. People that full-time, they do this all day, and people that are smart, that don't want to do such a big deal, such a big transaction like marriage itself, they have that wisdom. They're like, I want to create the ultimate team so that I have people to talk to, people to give me advice, people to discuss. So step number two is recognize that something as massive as marriage, I don't want to be a fool and try to do it myself. And I'm going to be wise and bring in as many people into my space and into my life as possible to hear feedback, to let them know about the ups, the downs, the journey. And you'll be so surprised how much your A-team will be what gets you through the dating, through is he good, is he normal, am I thinking straight, am I off? The A-team is fantastic. If Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos need a team, then us going on dates also need a team. Step number 3. So far, so good, guys? Step number 3. A person has to know specifically what they're looking for. You brought that up, no? A person has to know specifically what they're looking for. Tonight, we all brought up very interesting things about what they're looking for in marriage or what they appreciated about people that they've dated in the past. You know, I once heard a joke when I was a little boy, I still remember till today. They used to say, you know, when you're dating, it's a joke about men dating women. It says that when you're dating a woman, you should focus on real things. It says beauty, don't focus on. Personality, don't focus on. Why? They would say beauty, when a person gets older, beauty fades. Personality is also not important. Because after so many decades, you can't hear their jokes. The personality fades as well. The only thing that lasts is a good cook.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
The men are laughing a little too hard over here, I just have to say. So the reality is that when it comes to looking for marriage, this is the key, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on this, which is what we should look for. And what I'm about to say is not what most people are saying, in the world. This is the Torah perspective, which is the core of a lasting marriage is a marriage that's based on shared values. Very good. Shared values. And by the way, it's crazy out there. Okay? It's crazy out there. There's someone in the community, by the way, that is just got a divorce because his values, he's like on a spiritual journey up, and she's like, hey, whoa. We met in the club in Las Vegas. What's going on over here? Right? So shared values, we're going to unpack what this means, is the foundation where if you have shared values, you go through anything together in life. Values are things that can't be purchased, they can't be bought. They're connected to our deepest desires and wants. So listen to these, what are values? And your brain is going to start thinking different. Listen to this. You know what could be a value for you? I value hard work, discipline. You know who you should not be dating? Someone that doesn't value hard work and discipline. Big stuff, right? Unbelievable. So if someone's like, hey, I'm easygoing, I'm chill, guess what? This is not going to work out so well. Someone may be sitting around this table that really values health. I do my cardio. I floss my teeth. I have my skincare routine in check. Health is really important for me. It's a value. So you know what? It's important that I find someone that values taking care of their body. Because you know what's not going to work out? When I'm going on a jog at 6 a.m. and my spouse is sitting eating ice cream. I don't value this type of lifestyle. Even kids. Do you value kids or not? And some of you are shaking heads, yeah, I value kids. Yeah, but how many? How many? Do you value 2 kids, 3 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids? As many as, as possible. As many as possible. So these are completely different values from yes kids to how many kids. Religion, how much? Traditional, I want to drive. Today, by the way, when it comes to religion, it's like walking through a maze, right? It's like, I keep kosher, but I don't respect people that are Shomer Shabbat, and I want to send my kids to Jewish schools, but someone called me this week saying that she's not attracted to her husband's Sphira beard, but she's happy that he's going to synagogue every day. Like, whoa! Are our values aligned when it comes to spirituality, to religion? Some people value respectable positions in society. That doesn't mean income. Someone would rather their husband or their wife work in something really respectable position, make less money, than knowing that their husband makes $300,000 picking up trash. Interesting. Maybe you didn't think about this. Someone would rather live with less money than know that their spouse is a garbage collector. So the values are not aligned, because you know what someone else may say? Who cares what I do? I'm bringing money to the table. Those values are complete opposites, one to the next. Some people value work-family life balance. Some people couldn't give a rat's about work-family life balance, okay? The reality. And maybe some people care too much about the family-work balance, where they're like, kumbaya, as long as you're home putting the kids to bed, I don't care if we can't pay the mortgage, right? That's not going to work out. Some people value living near their parents, no matter what. LA or bust. Why? Because my grandmother still lives across the street. Okay? And some people value living as far as they can from their parents. That's right. These are opposites. What about, I value being a proud Jew? Some people are really proud that they're very good closet Jews. No one knows that I'm a Jew. Right? These people exist. So if you're like Star of David guy or girl, and this person prides himself with no one knowing that they're Jewish, they're planning for like the next Nazi invasion, God forbid, it's not going to work out. Some people really value meditation, therapy, all these different avenues of getting more in touch with themselves. Some people laugh on it and they say this means nothing. Go get a real job. Use your time wisely. Not going to work out. Some people deal with everything within themselves. Some people are open to have relationships with rabbis, relationships with therapists, relationships with mentors. If the values are not aligned, the one spouse may go to the next person and say, I forbid you from bringing this up to anyone, even if you feel you need the help. It stays within the household. What about this? I'm open to everything. I actually value my kids being exposed to Christmas. We see that a lot in Los Angeles. Some of you may be shaking your heads, but that's normal, right? These are real fights that people have that are legitimate things that are not dollars and cents conversations. This is my life. What about expensive Jewish private school? Do you want to live with $40,000 less a year, not go to some island hut and post on Instagram that someone's squeezing a lemon into your cocktail on the beach because you're spending all your money going to Jewish private school education, right? Someone says, listen, I'm going to send my kid to public school and I'll just sign him up to Chabad Hebrew school. I'm good. Whatever. I'm Jewish. My wife's Jewish. It's all great. We have an Israeli flag in the kitchen. It's going to be fine. Someone else says, are you nuts? If you don't send your kid to proper Jewish private school, then who knows what's going to be? That's values. What about giving charity? Some people say it's important for me to be a charitable individual. I want to give more. And then there's some spouses that say, what do you mean? You told me no to my new cigar lounge in the basement. You told me no to my new Birkin bag. And now you're giving charity to the Jewish community. What's going on over here? Another pair of spouses are so happy to not get the cigar lounge or the Birkin bag, knowing that they were able to give money to a family in need, to give money to Jewish institutions. What about open home, private home? Some of us sitting around the table don't want anyone coming into our private spaces. I don't care who they are. Even my mother-in-law has to give me 2 days' notice. Someone else says, my home is open. Whenever you come from synagogue, whatever you're doing, you could always enter my home. Those are opposites, comfortable spaces. These are real conversations. Do we have a TV in the bedroom? Do we not have a TV in the bedroom? Right? These are like normal value conversations. But maybe our generation has been taught that when we sit across the table from each other, we spend a lot of time talking about, hey, what TV show? Are you watching the new TV show? Oh, yeah. That was really good. That was great. Hey, you saw baseball? It was amazing. Okay. Do you love Israel? Yeah, I love Israel. Amazing. But if we want to really get close to people, the fastest way is to uncovering their values. Who cares if you like skiing? I don't even care if you like skiing. What does that have to do with anything? Well, who cares if you like this band of music? What does that have to do with marriage? What does that have to do with day-to-day life? The most foundational elements of a home or a relationship that makes sense is values. 100%. And if the values are aligned, you can go through anything. Because if you don't have any money in the world, if we value the same things, we could conquer the world. If we have all the money in the world, if we value the same things, we could conquer the world. But if our values are not aligned, then every day is a fight. Do we come to school on time? Do we send our kids for school? Do we have family over for the Seder? Do we have Shabbat alone? It's crazy. So the number one thing to date in order to get married fast is to filter the playing field. You may be an amazing person, but if our values don't align, nothing personal, we're not going to get married to each other. So let's actually 100% establish the friend zone. Let's do it. Let's be friends. But what we're not going to do is waste each other's time because we realize that we're good people, but our values are not aligned. If anyone here working in tech, raise your hand if you work in tech companies love perks. They love perks. So you work in San Francisco, you have some coding job, but when you ask people how's work, oh, it's amazing. There's potato chips everywhere and there's a slide. It's amazing. I love it. Let me ask you a question. Did you take that job for the potato chips and the slide? Now, a lot of people today be like 100%. 100%. It was the potato chips and the slide. But when you realize I like potato chips and I actually like slides, but if I searched for jobs for potato chips and slides, my day-to-day would be a disaster. So dating, we have to go back to the basics. Is he rich? Is she beautiful? Potato chips and slides. I hope to get everything. But if I don't like when I'm coming to work to every single day, then I will resent the potato chips and I will resent the slide to the end of time. I'll actually have them ripped out of the building. So when we date, from now on, it becomes who in this room shares my values. And you know what you're going to find out very quick? You're going to find out that there's not a lot of people. Because we're all intricate. And we're all amazing, wonderful rainbows of personalities. But when it comes to values, you could probably, if you talked with everyone around this table, within 5 minutes of a focused conversation, you'll have on one hand, who is even worth, doesn't mean no one's good people, who is even compatible with me in values? Who am I not going to fight with on every single thing in life? When I spend $1, I save $1. I donate $1. I eat kosher, I don't eat kosher, right? Some people, everyone's different. And that's okay, and that's normal. So what that means is step number 4. If we want to date to get married fast, is we recognize that serious dating comes first, not second. About to save ourselves a lot of time. Serious dating comes first. How many people do you meet, friends, where they're dating some guy, some girl, and you say, hey, how long have you been dating? 3 months. Okay. So what do you know about the guy? Oh, no. We're just hanging out. We just went jet skiing, and he took me on this horseback riding thing, and she showed me this amazing bowling alley. Amazing. We're just having a good time right now. You know what that means? That they've never done the most important thing, which is discover the other person's values. So the only thing that's going to happen is, once they have the conversation, they may realize, holy smokes, we're not meant for each other. And I just wasted all this time. So we make the first dates the most important ones. So people say, no, Rabbi, today people don't like getting deep. Well, guess what? If we followed what everyone likes to do today, what did we start with? We're going to be toast. The statistics are up against us. So we're going to do everything against what everyone does today. And we're going to, when you go on that date, you take someone out, you say, hey, get to know the person for real. Have a real legitimate conversation. And by the way, maybe I'm crazy, but I think when we went around the table, so many of you were just desperate for authentic conversations. We're done with bringing someone else's car to the date because we don't like our car. Who cares about my car? You know, in the Orthodox community, it's funny because people get married at such a young age. Some of them don't even have real jobs. People say, how do you get married without a real job? When you date someone, you sense their values. Is a person hardworking? Is a person responsible? Is a person a dreamer? Is a person capable? When you have the values, you don't need the job. The job is like taking your friend's car to make it look normal. The person is the investment, not what's in the bank account or the job that they have. I want to tell you guys something interesting. Zillow. Imagine you shopped for a home. By the way, do you have any realtors around the table? Raise your hand for a realtor. May you guys be blessed for the next 3 years to support your families. They say it's going to be a rough time. So when it comes to Zillow, imagine you went on Zillow only looking at photos, not looking at how many beds, bathrooms, square foot. Could you imagine such a process? You would probably be suicidal. Be like, are you kidding me? Every house is amazing. I mean, every house has a nice kitchen. And then, hey.
It's actually what you do as a developer. You look at the pictures, and if it looks like crap, you know it's a development site.
There you go. Good. So he shops without the specs.
No bedroom, no bathroom counts, right?
Exactly. So if you're looking for a house for yourself, and you didn't know exactly what you're looking for, you're looking at a house, amazing. The backyard, amazing. The kitchen, unbelievable. You're planning on having a family with 3 kids. This is a studio apartment. What are you doing? What do you mean? Do you know what you need? But if you knew you needed 3 bedrooms, you go to Zillow, filter. Price point, I could only afford this amount. All of a sudden, there's one house in Los Angeles, right? There's nothing out there. There's only one. The more you know what you're looking for, you actually realize that there's not a million people out there in the world. There's not a million homes. There's very few that fit my needs. But someone else, a studio apartment is perfect. Someone else, a mansion home is amazing. Someone else, a 2-bedroom. But for me, I need my 3, 4 bedrooms, whatever, 3 bedrooms. I need 2 bathrooms. I need a backyard. I specifically never want to have a pool. I don't know. You filter, so easy. Now you have a few people to look at. You have a few houses to look at. When we get confident and refine what we're really looking for, you look around the room and you're like, maybe 2. Maybe 2. Maybe 2. It doesn't mean I look down at anyone, because I know myself. I know what I want. And guess what? Now, I just save myself a lot of time, because I'm going to go up to these 2 people and I'm going to talk to them. And at the end of the night, I may have 1.
You're welcome.
I may have 1. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand for this one. But if you've ever been on Tinder, if you've ever been on any of these things, this is the world we live in. It's a reality. Right? I think I read online that like 91% of Americans today have sex pre-marriage, premarital sex, 91%. So imagine you're looking to buy a home and you're filtering by Airbnb or leases. I want to try it out. So you go to this house that's for lease and you live in that leased house. But really you're in the market to buy. Do you know why you just made a huge mistake? Because the landlord has no plans of ever selling. The Airbnb person never wants to sell. So we're on Tinder, but we want to get married. But the people are here on this specific website are doing Airbnb, short-term rentals. This is the business model. They don't even know what it means to sell. So if we wanted to really get serious about dating, we just filter, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, hey, you're on Tinder, you're probably not for me. I'm not on Tinder because I'm only for sale. I'm actually not even for lease. You can't even get me for a year. You cannot date me for a year. I'm only for sale. You want to talk about selling? You want to talk about long-term relationships? Welcome to the conversation. And you know what happens? Your social circles start filtering. I was once speaking with someone that he confided with me that he really wants to get married. And I asked him one question. Do all your friends know? He says no. I said, what do you do for a living? He says, I'm in real estate. I said, when you have a house to sell, does everyone in your life know? Do you post it on Facebook? He says, yeah. When you want to sell something, does everyone know? Yeah. So he says, you want to get married. The best thing you could do is let the whole world know where you stand and who you are. But no, in today's world, I don't want to be desperate. I don't want to be this. The realtor loves being desperate. He loves being very upfront with what he's doing. If you want to get married, let the world know you want to get married. You know, what's the worst that can happen? Who cares? Let the world know, yeah, hi, my name is Mendy Mentz, and I cannot wait until I get married. I cannot wait. Of course, I work on my business for now. Of course, I'm not depressed because I'm single. But of course, I want to get married one day. There's no shame in that. I want to get married. I'm proud. I'm open about it. You know what ends up happening? The whole table, the whole friend group realizes this guy wants to get married. So guess what? A month, 6 weeks later, someone meets another boy or girl and says, hey, 1 second, you're perfect for that guy or for that girl that I know is ready to get married. Unbelievable. The whole community's looking out for you. But instead, we live in a world where everyone's like, do you want to get married? I don't know, maybe. Maybe one day if I find the right person. I don't know. In no other point in our life do we ever talk this way. When it comes to college hunting, when it comes to career, we're always straight up. So we need the confidence to say, yes, I can't wait to get married in a healthy way. So, serious dating comes first. Just like with Zillow, we filter. When we meet someone, we have an honest, open conversation. Obviously, we don't interrogate people, but we get to know who they really are. I once heard of a couple that got married that didn't get so heavy on the values. This is a real story. They both knew they wanted to have kids. They got married. But they never discussed when. We were busy in the bowling alley. They never discussed when. The husband and wife get married. The husband literally says, for the first 6 years, I'm not having kids. Are you crazy? Career time. Of course I want kids, but not now. And the wife was like, are you nuts? You think I got married to wait another 6 years to have children? They tore each other apart. So now you're saying it's such an obvious conversation. No, in our world, we have to be so obvious. We have to be so upfront. I want kids, and I want to have kids 6 years into marriage. Or I want to have kids as soon as possible. So that now when it comes, so now we're going to talk about where we should take people on dates. You're planning a date. You want to take someone on a date. What's, after all we've learned today, what's the best places to take someone on a date? By the raise of hand. Who has an idea? Where should we take someone on a date? Or where should we not take someone on a date? Either way. Don't be shy. It's just us. Just us. Yeah. That is exactly it. That is the underlining most important thing. Very good. You went like straight to the foundation. Somewhere you could talk. Imagine taking someone on a date to a concert. Could you imagine? So, what's he like? He's great. What's she like? It's great. What do you mean it was great? Tell me, what's the person's values? I don't know anything yet because we just went to a concert. Let's go out and let's do arcades. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we in high school? Arcades? We're sitting in offices with Jeff Bezos. They don't do conversations in arcades. Who goes to arcades for a business meeting? But when it comes to dating, we'll go to the most unconducive places to get to know the person we're trying to spend the rest of our life in. Because God forbid we look at each other and have a conversation, right? Yeah.
I've heard that talking is obviously a big part of it, but there's also other things that can be communicated without speaking. There's body language, there's other things that, and I'm not saying like eventually you should get to values, but why is it so wrong, for example, on a first date to like see if you're just compatible with someone socially?
Very good.
Yeah, energetically, like to be talking to see if there's chemistry. Like I'm not saying do anything, but isn't that also the foundation of a relationship?
It is. You know what else is a foundation of a relationship? That you should be romantically attracted to your partner. But I don't think tonight I have to go at length into that. Meaning, this is for sure important, but one of the number one things that at least I see when I speak to a lot of people in the dating scene is that they're putting a lot of energy into, can I hang out with this person? Could we be friends? Putting a lot of energy in, do I like their vibe? Do I like their energy? But all those things are not make it or break it things. And actually, if you filter by vibes, I could probably have a good time with every single one of you at the table. I'll be honest. We could have a great time. I don't care who you are. We'll find a way. What do you want to go hiking? Want to go skydiving? Want to smoke a cigar? We'll figure out a way. Vibing is very easy in this world.
Are you sure vibing is very easy?
Maybe not for you.
Probably not for me, but I want to. Yeah, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Kind of rewind a little. We talk about values and are we on the same page? I think people change all the time. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And the female that I wanted to date is completely different. We just evolve as human beings, right? Especially if you're growth oriented, especially if you're open to the possibilities of becoming better, right? We don't know what we're going to be in the future. Isn't it more important to just be with a good person that's growth oriented, that wants to give, and just have an open heart and humble and just have just a good individual that you vibe with and throw away all that other stuff and just let God come in and split the seed for you? Isn't it that simple? Why are we into the details of all these little this and that? I think that's all that's needed.
I would agree in the way that like going to a concert on a first date
you kind of, like, you can very much like the person, and then on the third date, figure out why you don't. And, like, you just, obviously, if you put more time between that, like, you go on the first date, and you still haven't figured out their values until a year into the relationship, now you risk, like, so much of your energy, so much of your emotion on this person that would not have, that you wouldn't have spent a year with had you gone to dinner.
Says who? I can go on a date anywhere. I can literally vibe. I
Yes,
can go
you
to.
can vibe, that's the point.
I can get to know a person anywhere on a date. I can go to a bar. I can go to a
But
coffee
can
shop.
you get to know them as deeply as you would in a different scenario?
Absolutely. If I'm my authentic self, if I show up as my authentic self, I'm like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I'm just
What about them?
being. If someone is real and authentic, they should be able to show up as themselves anywhere they are.
Show up as themselves, but they're being asked different questions, they're being faced with
Then it's not a match, and you don't vibe. Either you vibe.
No,
or
it
you
could be a match though, with the questions that they're being asked. That's the point. It could be a match until different questions are asked, and you get different answers, and you realize why it isn't.
And what if the person just gives you the answer that you want to hear, because they want you to like them? Whole nother problem.
That's
Whole different problem.
Yeah, I think you're either both authentic
just
and
a
you're
different
vibing.
problem in the.
I don't know. I just.
Everyone has a good time at a concert, or
Right.
at dinner, and seems to have a good time with them.
But I just think you should be able to just. I think you just be authentic and you can just show up anywhere and connect with someone. I don't think it's.
So this is what I'll say is that I don't want to discount chemistry, and I don't want to discount marrying someone that we're not marrying just like robotic value systems. We're not, that's not what we're doing. We're marrying human beings that you want to really love that person, be excited to spend time with that person, for sure. But when it comes to what's the most important thing that expresses itself, see, life brings a lot of challenges. And what we use to tackle those challenges is our value system. Our value system is like, do we go left or right? Do we go left or right? Do we go left and right? And where relationships really deteriorate, healthy relationships deteriorate, where healthy relationships deteriorate is when there's two healthy individuals that are actually at crossroads when they realize that their values are not aligned. So it doesn't mean that they don't spend time with each other. Doesn't mean that they don't talk things out. Doesn't mean that they're not good, healthy couple. But they simply don't value the same things. And that's what actually tears people apart, even in healthy relationships. So the most important thing for life is the values. By the way, you know what's interesting? This is like something, someone once asked me, Rabbi, if you could give me like one line, who should I look for to get married? And obviously one line never encapsulates the whole thing. I told them this. Imagine you were going to travel the Sahara Desert and you have no water, you have nothing. Who would you choose to survive it with? Who would you choose it to survive it with? All of a sudden, she doesn't have to be the greatest AI generated model because I don't care. I don't want to die. All of a sudden, he doesn't have to have the greatest sense of humor. All of a sudden, I need someone that communicates. Hey, I'm going to meet you in this exact spot in 3 days. We're both going to do something separately, okay? Do you trust this person? Do you not trust this person? Do you value their decision making? Right? There's so many things. Today we live in a world like, oh, I'm good. Why? Because my father is so rich that I don't have to worry about any of that. So all I have to worry about is like if we could appreciate each other's company. What happens if you were in the Sahara Desert and you needed to rely on each other to figure it out? All of a sudden, what's important? None of the things that's being thrown at me is as important as the most deepest parts of a person, which is, are you ready for this? Do you value this? We're going to have to make tough decisions. We're going to have to trust each other. And that's where a person's inner values comes out. So I actually don't want you to be so nice, because if you're too nice, you don't mind just dying. I need someone that really cares to accomplish the situation. When you put yourself in these situations, you'll see values express itself on extreme levels. But of course, you have to love the person. You have to really vibe with the person. But those things, we could love a lot of people in our lifetime. we could vibe with a lot of people in our lifetime, but there's not a lot of people that share a lot of our same values. And finding those people is like filtering that I'm only willing to spend $1.6 million in Los Angeles for a single family home, and there needs to be 4 bedrooms. You literally have 2 options. That's it. And now your search became much, much easier. It's exciting to be on Zillow and exciting to dream about a $4 million home, but guess what? Right now that's not in your budget. So we could be excited about, oh, but he's so rich or she's so beautiful, but he doesn't have your values and she doesn't have your values. And the faster we figure that out, we could speed dating, next. Okay. Is someone's hand up? Yeah.
I feel that sometimes when we focus on all the very detailed language that every single value needs to be the exact same, going to what Shannon and Jacob were talking about earlier, I think sometimes complementary ways of looking at life and finding a balance between the two is also something that people should look for. I don't think you're looking for something you are.
Shannon, so I want to, so first of all, like everything we're discussing tonight, there's always balance. You know, in life there's always balance. But values is not differences. Like I said before, I'm very different from my wife. Very different from my wife. But we're not different in our values. For example, like my wife loves routine. I love creativity. But those are not values. Those are not values. Values are much deeper things than what we enjoy. Enjoying is I like social events. I like being in social spaces, and someone's an introvert. Those are not values. Those are how we experience life. Values are much deeper things. Values are like, do you care if your child watches iPads all day? That's not giving you pleasure. That's not taking away pleasure from you. That's a value that will destroy the home.
Right, but having that conversation so prematurely can kill any type of chemistry or relationship.
Oh, very good.
There's so, when you're saying no to so much, you can find somebody that you disagree on and you haven't experienced that situation to really know. But like in your mind, right, so many parents talk about, I would never let my kid sit with an iPad or an iPhone at dinner. And then they'll say, oh, now that I have 3 kids, like, you'll see when you're a parent. So some things we can talk about hypothetically, it's very easy to feel like you have a value about that. But until you really live it, is it really fair?
Correct. And by the way, those parents probably do value not giving their kids iPads. But there's probably another value system that hopefully, if it's a healthy relationship, that is trumped. That it's not that usually it's like there's something else that's maybe it's their mental health. Maybe they took on too much in life. There's always complications. But yes, I will say is that what we're discussing tonight, whoever you're dating, maybe they're not here tonight. But with your education, now at least your brain is focused on something more than the next person. So yeah, your first meeting is not a CIA interrogation. You're still going to go to play bowling and be like, oh, so nice, you hit the ball, I hit the ball. Okay, amazing. But tomorrow, maybe we just go out for drinks. Maybe we have dinner. Because the best way to get to know someone is through conversations. Conversations. Body language is there, having a good time is there. But when it comes to business, we talk. When it comes to every decision in life, we talk. The best way to get to know someone is actually through the words. And that's why it's really a problem when people sleep with each other too early before they have the answers to this. When they become boyfriend and girlfriend, and they solidify this whole romantic situation before we even talked about, what's the insurance rate on this car that I'm about to lease. Like, hey, how do you not talk to that before you married the car? It's crazy. So, yes, be a human. Recognize that you can't start off with a CIA interrogation, but also recognize that we can't view every single home without asking how many square feet. And by the way, if you guys go online, you could have 3 bedrooms, like we said, and 2 bathrooms, and then find out it's only 1,200 square feet. Doesn't work. So the faster we get to the values, the faster you're going to actually know, holy smokes, I want this to speed up ASAP. Now I'm ready to go all in. Now I'm ready. We can do whatever you want. Meaning the values is like finding out that you're a match. The values is finding out that you're 80% a match. Now I need to see if I vibe. Now I want to see if we could talk, like if everything else works. But without the values, everything else is like a slide and chips. It's good, but that's not why I'm here. Okay, so people laugh about the Orthodox community, right? And I'm not telling anyone to date like Orthodox here. Not at all. It would not work, okay? We're not advising that. But there's always something valuable to take out of every type of person in the world. Like you see in all these like TV shows, they're always meeting in hotels and lobbies and all this different stuff. It's like, come on, it's so lame. Go on a jet ski, do something fun with your life, right? They're just so like locked in that the community has set the standard that we date deep first. That's it, right? Your concern is people are not, it's like it doesn't work out. It's so awkward. In those communities, it's just hard. The hard dating comes first. The fun dating comes second. We obviously can't replicate that fully. But with this information, you could save yourself months and months and months of dating. By the way, this girl is demanding him to propose in Italy. He never even wanted to ever get married. She probably would have saved herself a lot of heartbreak if she would have asked, hey, I know we love each other, but what's your thoughts on marriage? Next, step number 5, and we're almost done.
Using values and proposing, if the person's easygoing, she'd be happy if you proposed anyway. I think it's more of just an easygoing person versus, an easygoing person. I think, like all my friends that are married, many of my friends are married. And I asked all of them the same question, Rabbi. They all come with the same answer. My husband's easygoing. My wife is easygoing. I think it's just kind of easygoing.
Well, people aren't
No, you can. I'm open. No, you can say whatever you want.
Some people would love a wife that was like, I want this girl to be where she wants to get married, where she wants to get proposed to. You know, I want a girl who knows what she wants. A lot of people do that. You know what you want. You want to like some tea.
Okay, next, step number 5. We never, by the way, this is interesting. You may agree, you may not agree. Number 5 is, there's no such thing as breaking up if you are never engaged. There's no such thing as breaking up if you're never engaged. There's no relationship here. If you're not engaged, you're just extending a weird situation for a very long time. Oh my gosh, I was seeing this guy for like 4 months, and we finally started talking. We realized we weren't a match, and I had to break up. You were never a thing. We were never a thing. And by the way, own that. It's so healthy. We're not in a relationship. I'm dating. I'm not in a relationship. You know who's in a relationship? Someone that's engaged or married. As long as we're dating, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a business partner with this guy. Really? Any contract? No, we're talking.
Yeah, but Rabbi,
Yeah.
You just said we're not talking about the modern Orthodox or the Orthodox world.
Yeah.
In our world, if you're monogamous with someone and you get the title, you are committing to something.
Commitment comes with a ring.
A different level of commitment comes with the ring.
Okay, committed.
Monogamy already is a level of commitment, and calling someone your girlfriend or boyfriend is a level of commitment. It's not the same as getting engaged or getting married, yes, but you can't just get married. You have to, the way I think everyone would agree with here. Someone becomes your boyfriend or your girlfriend, then they become your fiance, then they become your spouse.
This very good. There's the stages that the world has put on itself. So this is why I love bringing examples out of dating, because we get so emotionally charged when it comes to dating, but everywhere else in the world where there's no emotions involved, it becomes very simple. Yes, if you're, especially in LA, if you're talking to someone about some big business idea and you go out on a lot of coffee dates talking about this big app we're going to do, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be awesome. Do you have any investors? Not yet, but it's going to be amazing. I'm actually officially talking to this person about starting the app. We're officially starting. Officially, like you guys have paper and pen, shared ownership. No, not like that. But I'm just between us, verbally. Officially, we're talking about it. You would tell that person, Either you make it official or something's off. What's the hesitation? What's the hesitation? So go on another few dates. But until there's some real difficult level of commitment, someone's not in the game. Someone is 1 foot out the door. Because it's very easy to start having real conversations, to get real talk. But the reality is we live in a world and in a generation where people are boyfriend and girlfriend for years. And most of these people that are dating for years, it actually trends not that they end up getting engaged and married. So of course, it's a thing. Don't discount that you've been talking to another human for 2 years. But don't overvalue the fact that what are we doing? Yes, no. Like, let's move forward. Let's put paper and pen as our joint idea. And then later we'll get investors. And if we can't do that, then we have to be honest and recognize that we're not in a real relationship. I know relationship is like, we're in a relationship because we're at an event today, but we're not. A real relationship is commitment, and commitment comes with commitment. Commitment comes with commitment. No, put it on paper. Put it on paper.
At what point is it like saying the physical manifestation?
Very good. Physical manifestation of commitment. See, in business, you want to talk this way. In real estate, you want to talk this way. At your work, you want to talk this way. Oh, yeah, I'm speaking to a bunch of leads. Okay, do we have a deal? So now, there's a gray space. Everything takes time. Really? Really? A house? Most people today move in together.
If you're saying you're agreeing with the physical manifestation, wouldn't a house be?
The statistics talk for themselves. Most people. If a guy ever comes to you and says, my next level of commitment is you move into my house, and you're like, hey, why don't we get engaged? Red flag.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's it.
What's the red flag?
The red flag is, you want me to move into your home. Are we in business or are we not in business?
I think it's very reasonable, but you haven't really said is, how do you figure out if you have the same values? Like you say conversation.
The only way is through talking.
Okay, but like, do you have a list of questions?
By the way, it's not easy to stay focused. This is why we go back to the A team. Before, hey, you came back from a date. What did you learn? I remember when I was a kid, my parents would always ask me, what did you learn about the girl you were dating? And if I came back and said nothing, they were like, okay, whatever. You guys just, your hormones had a great time. But the dates I came back and I learned something, it got me closer to the yes, or it got me closer to the no. And that's why we need an A team. That's why we need mentors to keep us focused in all stages of life, so we don't end up in a situation where we go on for no reason. Every single person is different. Every society is different. Right? I personally dated my wife for 3 months. That's it. 3 months. I think we went out 16 times. But those dates, some of them were 13 hours long. And they were some of the greatest conversations ever. And I came back sometimes with a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. And it's like, oh my gosh, I just learned this and I just learned that. I don't know if this aligns with me. I don't know if this is, and I come back and you learn more and learn more. All of a sudden, a couple real dates in, you're like, this is real. This is worth my time. Let's keep going. And you could speed, obviously in today's world, you have to be a normal person, no CIA agent over here. But the more focused you are in how you date, you'll be able to say no to the wrong people, which is a powerful thing, to say no to something that's not for you. Yeah.
Can I share one of the best answers I actually ever received to what's the appropriate amount of time to date someone?
Yeah.
Someone said, when you date someone from the academic scenario, that's one of the lessons I received. But everything aside that you said and everyone else said, I would really just love to know what percent of the values would you say needs to align, because I think we can always use that knowing we're gonna have something. And I think that would be a good area of, okay, but they have this, but they don't have that. Yes, we can look on
You ready for this? I'll answer your question with another question. How do you know something's a red flag?
It doesn't align with your values. No?
I like that answer. I like that answer. Something's a red flag if you can't live with it. Someone has the right to not marry someone because they don't like the way that their pinky toe grows. If you can't get over it, it's a red flag for you. So how do you know if someone's values is not enough aligned? If all night you're thinking about that. And you're like, we're so good, but I just can't get over the fact that he's telling me that I do my business meetings in the clubs.
So what advice would you give someone that you personally would think is being too picky? Let's say you are on someone's 18 and the confidant kept coming to you saying, I just can't get over this or that, and to you it might sound ridiculous.
So
What would you say to someone that is too picky?
So number one, this goes back to the A team. It's important to talk things out because you get a lot of wisdom from people, which something you think is a big deal, you talk it through with someone else and you're like, holy smokes, I can't believe that perspective really opened my eyes and realized that it's not a big deal. But if you see something on a date and with your A team, back and forth, and you keep trying out new perspectives and you go out on new angles, and it still continues to be like a sore thumb in your eye that you simply cannot get over, and you're honest with yourself at that point, in my opinion, it could be as simple as you don't like the way the guy's nail grows. It's enough not to get married. If it's a real red flag, because you can never get over a real red flag. But most things that people in the beginning think are red flags, you could ask people that, by the way, I enjoy talking to people right after they date and asking them about the dating process right after they get married. You'll notice that almost every single person had legitimate concerns during dating, legitimate red flags, and over time, with the right A-team, let's say, they were able to move past those things. I don't even remember what they all were, but they knew there were things. And you learn. But if you can't get over it, then you can't get over it. And if you can't get over it, you can't get over it. And I don't think anyone should judge anyone's red flags. Everyone has their own little idiosyncrasies, their own things in life. But make sure that you don't make a decision alone, because you never know. There may be something you think is a big deal today that won't be a big deal tomorrow. Okay. Next, when step number 6, and there's only 7 steps, so you guys are almost there. Step number 6. And this is what I wanted to make sure to put after everything we spoke about. It's so important that you absolutely are romantically attracted to this individual. It's not a simple thing. It's a real thing. You have to want to be romantically attracted. I didn't say you have to love the person. I think we use the word love way too often. I don't know if anyone knows, if anyone's ever heard of someone by the name of the Rabbi, Menachem Schneerson, but he used to say that love is not possible until 10 years in marriage, basically. We could be sexually attracted and we could be in lust, but love takes a long time to build, so most people will never experience real love during the whole dating process. You may get excited and you may like the person, but like and excitement is not love. Love really basically, what is love? What is love? Love is when you come to a place when you can't imagine living life without this person. And if you're honest with yourself, there's no one in your life you've met, unless it's been over a long period of time, where you can't replace that person with another hypothetical person. You can always hypothetically replace someone. Real love is when you come to a point where, like, I don't even care, I don't even know. I can never live life without this person. And that's only possible after 10 years of doing favors for the other person. For a whole different time, we could talk about love, whatever, not to get lost. Okay, so step number 6. Do I feel romantically attracted to him or her? This guy may have the best values, this girl may have the best values. If you can't be romantically attracted to this person, it's not possible. I have a classmate of mine that got divorced on his 8th day of marriage. 8th day. So they got married, they did the Sheva Brachas, the 7 thingies, 7 blessings. On the 8th day, he announced his divorce. And I remember he sent me a text message. And he said that they knew their values were aligned, but he was never attracted to her and he was never attracted to him. And everyone was telling them that don't worry, it'll come. Don't worry, you know how, because our parents, all they want is everyone to get married. Don't worry, it's going to be good. Buy her some chocolates and get him a baseball card, right? It'll all work out. So it just wasn't happening. And then everyone said, don't worry, the wedding night. And they couldn't be together the wedding night. And after the 7 days, they said, enough. It takes cojones, for them to say enough. And that's it. They announced a divorce. And that was the end of the story. Yes, values is the most important thing that will navigate your life, but you have to be able to enjoy this person on deep levels that are fun and that are romantic. This is very important. Step number 7. This is the hardest one. Don't date longer than needed. That's it. Just don't date longer than needed. Once you know this person's not for you, and you've discussed it with your A-team, and you've tried every possible way to go on another date from this angle, bring up this conversation, try in a different setting, if you've done all you can, and it's just not aligning on a realistic level, I know being single is difficult and incredibly lonely, and it's a pit in the stomach that no one truly understands. But being officially in a dating relationship that's leading nowhere is worse than the feeling of being alone. We have one goal, which is to do this as fast as possible. So yes, better to be single than to be dating the wrong person for a long time. So romantic. Oh, so amazing. No. As soon as we know it's not for us, after discussing with mentors, the A-team, that's it. Move on. It's not easy. We have to move on. But also goes the contrary. This is very hard for our generation. If you know it's good, then chase it. Don't let good things just sit on the table for a long time. We're not here to waste time. If you guys know your values align, then have the conversations with each other and say, hey, let's be open and honest. What's the timeline over here? Why not? Let's start life. Our values are aligned. Let's do this. So many people are so afraid of these difficult conversations, but our lives are on the line. Our lives are on the line. And there's no reason to wait, especially if you feel like this is the one. Bring it up. Speak to people. What's the right ways to bring it up? But dating for multiple years and then being engaged for multiple years is not healthy. It's not healthy for the relationship because everyone's human. And no matter which Ferrari you buy, 3 years later, it's an old Ferrari. So the nature God created man is when you find something good, you jump on it, and that's it. You move on. It's not a normal thing for a man or for a woman to go on dates and prolong the celebration stages for 5 years. You find something good, you do your due diligence, and you close and you move on and you engage and you plan a wedding. Also, don't plan weddings for 100 years because you have to be able to look at each other. You can't just fight. By the time the wedding comes, people don't even want to stare at each other. And I want to close with some closing ideas, and then if anyone has any questions, by all means. Number 1, we are never truly ready for anything in life. We're never ready for anything in life. Society tricks us for certain things to tell us we are ready. They convince us we're ready to go from middle school to high school. We're not. It's not an easy transition. If you could meditate and find yourself in a backpack your first day in high school, you were a mess, you were alone, and it took weeks until you found your space. I don't care what anyone thinks, going from high school to college is not a natural transition. Society tells us it's natural, which is actually a good thing. It's a good thing. All these stages society tells us is normal, is natural, so therefore we do it even though it's literally jumping into oceans, one after the next. Imagine society did not normalize going to high school and college. How many years would it take us to get the strength to choose a college, to get the strength? Well, they give you a deadline. You have one summer to figure it out. In the traditional Jewish world, they just do one more thing. They just say it's totally normal to also get married. And that normalizes society to make all these decisions quick, as fast as possible to get into the zone. So number 1 is to remember this is 100% normal. I remember when my wife was pregnant with our first child, the nurse in the hospital said to my wife the greatest line she could have ever said to prepare my wife for birth, which is, don't forget, this is 100% natural and normal. I was like, bingo. There's so much like there's so much craziness out there. Like, hey, this is natural, normal, you're going to do great. Marriage is natural and normal. Society has lost its grip on it, but we have to remind ourselves what it really is. Next, don't be casual about dating. We must chase it. How do we chase it? This is a wonderful line from Hasidic philosophy, which is, a person should chase their spouse like they're searching for a lost object that they knew they once had. If you knew you lost something in your home, how would you search? Would you say, oh, when I find it, I'll find it? No, I know it's here somewhere. I have to search. I have to find it. Be active. Don't be sitting and saying, when the right girl comes, when the right guy comes, I got to be on top of the ball and active in dating and active in getting married. It's totally normal to chase this stage in life. And I know it's maybe it's like we don't feel comfortable being so vulnerable to the world, but it's very healthy. We chase everything in life, including to be able to find our spouse. Also, to remind ourselves that the world has lost their minds when it comes to relationships and marriage. And it's healthy to tell ourselves that it's okay to disconnect ourselves from the message of us as society. Don't look at Instagram for inspiration for dating. Don't look at Netflix for inspiration of dating. Don't look at any of these one-liners. The world is telling us on the top of the roofs, please, we've lost our minds. You have to show us the way because we don't even know what we're doing anymore. And surround ourselves with people that healthy relationships and dating has been completely normalized by them. And those people will be the greatest lights for you to navigate this time of your life. And lastly, to remember that dating and marriage is a beautiful thing. It's a holy thing. It's a mitzvah. I know we're talking, tonight I said we're not talking inspiration. So tonight we're leaving inspiration at the door. We're talking, boom, 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 whatever, I don't have the word for it. We're talking like the strategy, the how. Nevertheless, there's a God in this world. Nevertheless, he's watching over us. He wants us to get married. He wants us to have a beautiful life, to find the right person, to connect with the right people. He's doing his best to show us the right way to that place. This is what we believe. Our job is to just make the right vessel. To make the right vessel for the blessing. And I bless each and every one of you to have the courage to defy the odds of our generation, to fill your hearts and your souls with the spirit of the Jewish people for 1,000 years that never allowed themselves to become a statistic, to recognize that us getting married is a holy spiritual thing that is worth chasing after and not being ashamed about. And may we all be able to sing, dance, and celebrate very soon by our engagement parties and by our wedding ceremonies.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Zackary.
Any questions? Okay, good. So, with that being said, I hope that each and every one of you, the Zackarys and I have curated this event. We felt that there's so many singles events in Los Angeles, but it's time to start re-educating our souls to be able to be more focused. I hope that you're able to walk away tonight with a little more focus, to feel like you have a little sharper tool in the shed. And this is obviously a passion of mine. If there's any way that I could be of service to any of you on your journey, by all means, always feel free to reach out. We're all in this together. We're all living life together. And it's an open invitation to continue to connect and to bring more Jewish people together to be able to help them in the journey of dating and marriage. Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi. What you said was everything was so beautiful. You said don't make it like a CIA interview, and we kept talking about values, and I agree the values are most important. So sometimes I struggle with it. How do you make it? How do you ask these questions naturally, so that it's natural and you both feel comfortable and give sincere answers, but not make it like an interview?
So let's actually do it. Why don't we do this right now? Let's role play, okay? Let's do this. So, let's choose a value from the sheet, okay? Let's do this. Okay. Choose anything. Kids, proud Jew, closet Jew. What do you want? What's a value? Therapy.
Let's do the kids.
Kids. What's your name? Alex. Okay. So, Alex, where are we? Here we go. Round of applause for Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Great.
By the way, Alex, I have to say your dress looks wonderful. Got it. Two men not allowing ourselves to become the woman. Okay. You saw what just happened? That was the... I said his dress looks wonderful. He was the girl. I know. Right, okay. There's too much testosterone in the room. Okay. So, okay, amazing. So you were, where were you for Passover?
I was with my family in LA.
Nice. Do you like being with your family?
Yes.
But do you see the question I just asked you? Whatever you answer is going to tell me a lot about you. If you hesitate, whatever it is, and we'll leave it for later.
Yeah.
Nice. You like about your family. What you like your family? It's so awesome to hear. What do you like about spending time with your family?
I like that they're very energetic. They go with the flow. There's a lot of creative people, especially on my mom's side of the family. My immediate family has different characters that each get along, but everyone is very unique.
Right. It's so cool to be in a setting where you realize, like, wow, my family has so many colorful personalities, and when it comes together, it's so crazy. And to imagine that once, like, our aunts and uncles were just like brothers and sisters, it's crazy. Do you ever think about, like, what type of personalities your children will be?
What type of personalities they would be? Not really. I feel it would just sort of, each person has their own organic way of developing their personality, but I thought a lot about the values that I want to inculcate.
I love that. I love that about you, that you already envision yourself, like, talking to your kids, values. That's so cool. Nice. So I just found out that you want to have kids. Not today, a different day, we'll figure out if you want to have 2 kids or if you want to have 4 or 5 kids. You get what I'm saying? And by the way, for the rest of the dinner, you don't have to figure out all the values in once, right? Many dates. But at least you come home every day learning something real tangible about the other person. Because not everyone wants to have kids, but you obviously want to have kids. So it's not everything at once. You do it naturally, and the rest of the time, you're like, hey, I got some information that I'm happy with. Great. Now I could chill for the next 30 minutes and talk about the weather. So it just, and you just do it over time. Boom, 10, 15, 20 dates in. You're like, I know this guy's values, and I love it. I love it. Every time some things I'm concerned about, and I'll have to date more times to figure that out, but I've already figured out so much about the person. That's why I'm still dating you. But if you told me, I actually don't think about that. I don't know. I just don't like kids. I don't think about kid stuff. I'm like always thinking about business. That would be another thing you taught me that I have to still figure out. Like, is this guy for real? Is he not passionate about having kids? So if you're listening and you talk with intention, doesn't have to be all the time, you'll be able to learn a lot about people. And again, we try to remove ourselves from dating. Trust me, your present federation, when you're like at a dinner with a bunch of Jews, you're learning a lot about the people you're talking about. When you have your federation goggles on, okay, you're like, oh, this guy knows that guy, this guy knows this guy. I know who you are. So you just got to put on the antennas and have intentional dating when we date, and all of a sudden you'll be able to say, I'm excited for the next date, or I think I'm slowing down this situation until the future. Okay. I think the Zackarys are, I don't know what they're doing, but everyone's welcome to chill, to hang out, get to know each other, and I encourage you to, if there's someone you're interested to saying hello to, take a leap of faith before you leave tonight. Say hello, at least get their name, and then you could private message me after, and I'll send you their number, okay? Don't worry about it. Enjoy the rest of the evening, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Rabbi.